What a day. So why are markets in the red today? What's going on, guys? It's Ricky with Technical Solutions. Hope that you guys are all having an amazing Friday. Today it is March 6th. It is 8:53 a.m. here in Arizona. And I quickly wanted to shed light on why there has been so much negative selling pressure during the pre-market session. So first off, this should not be much of a surprise if you look at this on the 30-minute time frame. Again, we're looking at QQQ, which is the NASDAQ ETF, the one-for-one ETF. Markets tried to ignore all of the fear that was being injected into the market based off of the attacks that were going on in the Middle East, and they tried to ignore it and tried to recover. Trump's series of messages of, hey, we're thriving, we're doing good, brought a lot of excitement to the market, but guess what? Again, we sink back into reality. We do have a common support range right around 595 to 600, because if you look at this on the larger time frame, we've been kind of trading within this tight range for about a month, right? Common support, common resistance. So it's not really that there's a big right or wrong. It's just, are you actually surprised that the market is selling off? Not just with obviously the war that's going on in the Middle East right now, but also with what we just learned. Did you guys see the series of reports that came out during today's pre-market session? U.S. economy has lost 92,000 jobs in February, missing estimate. And now the unemployment rate is 4.4%, missing expectation. Again, over $800 billion has been wiped from the stock market in just a matter of minutes from the open. So what exactly was reported today? Again, very simple. If you guys actually check out your economic calendar, you could see that 1 hour before the market opened, we had non-farm payrolls. The expectation was that 65,000 jobs were going to be created in the month of February. Not only did we not have that, but this is non-farm private payrolls. Then we have overall non-farm payrolls. The expectation for both of them were a creation of 65,000 and a creation of 58,000. We came in at negative 92,000 and negative 86,000, meaning that we saw a huge loss in jobs. Now, when you look at the unemployment rate was expected to be 4.3% from the previous of 4.3%. We came in at 4.4%, supporting the case that yes, the labor market is doing worse than what was expected. So again, we can continue to try to ignore all of the red flags. The lack of consumer spending, the rising unemployment rate, the rising inflation rate. But guess what? Markets, surprisingly so, are still trading very close to near all-time highs. And this is a question that a lot of people are asking themselves is, why is this happening? I would say that this current administration has done a really good job kind of like reassuring that markets are doing great and that the economy is going to continue to thrive. Also, we have something very unique. We have this whole AI boom and this whole AI revolution. A lot of these tech companies, especially for QQQ, are being held up by the insane valuations of the Max 7 companies. You're talking about NVIDIA, you're talking about Amazon, Google, Meta, Microsoft, the list goes on. Those are such large companies and they are still relatively trading close to their all-time highs. When you look at NVIDIA, and yeah, it is trading at 182, it looks like it's just getting ready to establish its support for another swing up, right? You can't really blame investors for wanting to take part in this dip buy opportunity when all markets do is recover. And that's what I'm here to remind you, is that we talked about it in today's live trading session with the LPP team. And some of you guys might think, oh, all you want to do, Ricky, is short the market. No, one of the trades that I took today was with MSTZ. It was actually not even today. It was a position that I held overnight. It was only 1,000 shares and I only made $400. My position is now fully closed on MSTZ. I'm actually not shorting anything right now. You might be asking, Ricky, why would I not want to short something right now? First off, again, it's not that to say that I believe in Bitcoin. All I'm saying is that the current market conditions are supporting a recovery. When you look on the 1 hour time frame, again, like I've said over and over again in this video, we've been trading between the same range of 595 to 620 for the past month. We're not breaking below and we're not breaking above. And a very simple, thing to consider. If today we hit lows of the 595 or 598, my apologies, for QQQ, we're closer to the support than we are to a resistance. So me opening up a short at those oversold levels, technically based off of overbought and oversold levels for QQQ, wouldn't really make sense because now I'm opening a short at a possible support range. that is, again, contradicting, right? So I think it makes more sense to be intentional and be calculated. And that's what we reminded our LPP traders in today's live session, is that understand and work with the market. Just because we want to short doesn't mean that we want to be aggressive at a support level, just like it wouldn't make sense to be aggressive to go long at an overbought level. Our shorts are no better than people buying at all-time highs if we choose to be just as aggressive at a potential support range. So this is why I think it's really important that although you might just be focused on an intraday play as in like a day trade for a short, it's also useful as a trader. It's not needed, but I would say it's useful, especially for beginners, to look at larger timeframes as they give you a different perspective. They paint a bigger picture by understanding the oversold and overbought levels, knowing that, hey, I'm at a potential support range. Do I want to short here? Maybe it's not the safest bet. Maybe if I do choose to take a short because direction is in my favor or I see things getting worse over there in the Middle East, I could take a short, but it's going to be very small because, again, I need to respect the range that it's currently trading at, or vice versa. Hey, we're approaching a support level. Maybe I want to go long down here. Okay, well, we're closer to a support, so I can justify going in, but I have to also understand that due to the uncertainties going out in the Middle East, this is definitely something that I'm going to have to be very cautious of. But again, I'm going to respect it based off of the position size and the exposure I give myself. The riskier a stock is and or the riskier the trade is, the less exposure I want to give it. It's not that you have to be afraid to take advantage of an opportunity. It just means that you choose to respect the risk with the appropriate position size that acknowledges the risk, right? I feel like too many beginners are too comfortable going in 100% of the time with their initial buy. And guess what? That's not always going to work out for you, right? Especially when there's a lot of uncertainty injecting itself in the market. The last thing that I quickly wanted to share with you is I wanted to congratulate all the people that have been investing in oil. Oil is up over 30% in just the past 7 days, from lows of $80 per share to now highs of 106. It was at 106, almost 107, 32%. This is the United States Oil Fund. A very simple thing to acknowledge. Yes, oil is bullish during this war that's going on in the Middle East. I'm not saying that we will anytime soon, but if a resolution does present itself, oil will begin to drop, because then there's no more reason to continue to be uncertain about the price of oil. If this war continues, then yes, that does provide oil the condition and the environment to continue to rise. The higher it goes, the riskier it becomes. Be mindful of your position size. This is not a safe bet. It's all based off of your speculation and your outlook. So again, it's not that you have to be afraid. Just make sure that your position size respects the risk. That's what I wanted to leave you with. Other than that, we also talked in today's live trading session about airlines. Airlines have seen significant drops. Do you guys remember a few months ago I made, it might have been just a month ago, we made a video about, hey, the airline industry is possibly at a resistance. It's overbought. Jets, which is an airline ETF, has pulled on back. American Airlines has pulled on back. Southwest has pulled on back. JetBlue has pulled on back. And Delta Airlines has pulled on back. Now, this doesn't mean that the sell-off is over. This just means that we're approaching a previous support range. I wanted to see if you guys wanted me to dive a little bit deeper over the weekend and make an entire video just on the airline industry. I like the setup enough that I could entertain a possible swing trade, not now, but again, once it actually begins to indicate signs of a support. So I wanted to share that entire plan with you guys, or at least just the idea if you guys would like me to. If you do, please consider dropping a thumbs up and subscribing if you feel like we earned it. Other than that, again, I hope to see you for our live trading session on Monday. Like you heard me talk about them, it's my LPP team and they get to watch me trade live every single day. It's a one-time payment, it's lifetime access, and with the current sale we have going on, just click the second link in the description down below. It'll take you on over to our homepage. You can learn more about what exactly is included, our daily live session, our private group chat, and the A to Z video lesson library that's designed for complete beginners. It's all included and it breaks down to less than $1.10 per day. So when you're ready, again, second link down below, you can sign up right now and get ready to watch me trade live as soon as Monday. You also get access to the A to Z video lesson library. So please make sure you watch that before markets open on Monday. I appreciate your time. Like always, let's make sure that we end the year on a green note. Take care, team.